Hello everybody, good morning, Swalam Devi, Sonu, Nimal, Pallavi, Blessed, Aditya, Kushi Patidar, good morning everybody. Today is 7th of September, my name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Friends, into the today's video, we will be taking up all the articles from the Hindu newspaper as well as the good and relevant articles from the Indian Express explained section also we will be taking up. Meanwhile, friends, whatever the PDF that we will be using here into the video, that PDF is available onto our Telegram channel. You can join the Telegram channel and you can download the PDF from there. Now, first of all, taking up the overview of the articles that we are going to take up today. First of all, this is the Indian Express explained section, and here the first article, it is talking about the shape of economic recovery. Now here guys, we will be seeing some of the aspects with respect to the state of Indian economy, what has been provided. Then the below article, it is talking about the climate action that should be needed for the health, for the health, and there is a kind of an editorial that has been written. We will see this article. Then the below article, the Moderna's mRNA candidate brings hope for the HIV. So basically guys, the mRNA is going to start a kind of a trials. Okay, a trial will be going to be started onto the HIV for the vaccine. However, up till now nothing concrete has come into this particular direction. So as if the trial goes successful, we will be anyhow be seeing this particular thing. Now going to the Hindu newspaper, so this is the page number 1 of the Hindu newspaper, and here the first article, it is talking about the rising number of the Nipah cases. Now yesterday we have discussed very elaborately the Nipah virus, what are its basically what this particular virus is, how it originates, how it transmits, and its relation with the COVID also we have already taken up. Then the side article, it is talking about the Taliban which have claimed the control onto the Panjshir Valley. So what is this Panjshir Valley, why strategically it is important, all these things we will be seeing here. Then guys, after that we can see that below article, it is talking about the Tamil Nadu government which has introduced a kind of a bill into their legislature where the workers will be given a right to sit. It provides that all the organizations, they need to provide the chair to the worker so that they can sit whenever there is an opportunity. So this is a kind of a good initiative in recognizing the dignity for the labor forces. Then further moving on, guys, on to the city section. Basically the issues has been there with respect to the opening of schools, colleges, etc. Such kind of things are there, nothing very much important into this particular direction. Then further moving on guys, after that we reach to the editorial section, and this first editorial is talking about the national monetization pipeline. Fine, what are the different things into this article, we will see it. Then the below article, it is talking about the implications that will be coming onto the China because of the Taliban that had come into the Afghanistan. We'll see this article. Then basically this side article, it is again talking about the Taliban and the Panjshir Valley over which they have captured and the future prospects. We will take it. Then guys, this particular article, it is talking about basically the kind of a crisis that is going into the Libya. So such kind of thing has been there. Then this particular article, it is talking about that how the spirit of federalism is not being honored by the government. So some examples have been given. We will see this thing. Then this below article, it is talking about that the social media which cannot replace the traditional journalism. Fine, we will see this thing. Then this article, it is talking about that what tweaks are needed in order to reduce the rising number of infections into the Kerala. Fine. However guys, this particular thing will not be very much important because all these issues will be changing very soon as the situation will be changing. Then further moving on, after that guys, here this particular page, it is talking about the database that has been created for the farmers. So what this database is, how it will be helping the farmers, all these things we will be seeing here. Then further moving on guys, nothing very much important onto this particular page. Okay, then on into this particular page guys, here we can see that the prime minister is to attend the BRICS SCO and the Quad meets. Fine, all of these high profile meets are going to be held into the month of September. Already also we have seen that what will be the agenda of the BRICS this particular year, SCO, Quad. However guys, as and when these will be happening, we will be covering them very much elaborately. Then further moving on, basically the political news are there, not very much important for our examination, you can leave it. Then guys, after that, further moving on, so basically onto the world page, here this particular article, the food emergency into the Sri Lanka, it is talking about the economic crisis that had come. We will be seeing this article. Then the issues with respect to the Taliban, etc. has been mentioned. We will be taking it up. Then guys, onto the business page, much of the articles with respect to the economic themes are not there. Fine, the corporate issues, etc. has been there, not important for our UPSC examination. So guys, these are all the overview of the articles today, and now let's discuss the articles one by one. Now taking up the first article, taking up the GS quote for today, first of all. So, guys, today we will be taking up a quote from the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji. So, Gandhi ji says, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in the harmony. Now, guys, Gandhi ji had equated basically here the Gandhi ji had equated the happiness with the integrity. The definition of the integrity is also this, that when what you think, what you preach, and what you do into when it is into the harmony, you will reach the integrity. And the same definition Gandhi ji had given to the happiness also. So basically, Gandhi ji says that happiness is similar to maintaining the integrity of your character. The moment the integrity of character will be maintained, a person will become a happy person. Now, this particular thing we can utilize into the GS paper number 4, ethics, integrity, and aptitude, into the human values, as well as the lessons that we can learn from the teachings of the great leaders. There we can utilize it. So that is all about the GS quote for today. And now, taking up the first article. So guys, this first article, it has been taken up from the Indian Express explained section. Okay, and this article, it is talking about the shape of economic recovery and some of the important concepts with respect to the Indian economy we will be going to see here. Now, first of all, friends, into the 1st of September newspaper analysis, we have already analyzed the economic data that was provided by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Now, here the MOSPI issued the Q1 estimates for this particular financial year and provided that how the GDP is doing. There, first of all, we have discussed many of the important issues such as what is GDP, what is GVA, fine, how they are calculated, and all such kind of things. If you don't have any idea, you can see this particular attachment also. However, coming to the present day article. Now, guys, this present article, it is saying that as the GDP data for the Q1 has been released, there are some of the different interpretations that are coming. First of all, the government says that there is a 20% growth that has come. Why the government says that there is a 20% of growth? Because government is analyzing the data onto the basis of the year-on-year estimates or onto the year-on-year survey. Now, what is happening here? Government says that this is the Q1 of the financial year 2021-2022. What we need to do? We need to compare it with the Q1 of the last financial year. And when we compare this Q1 with the last Q1 of the last financial year, we see a 20% growth that is coming. So this is a kind of a positive aspect, and we need to happy for this particular thing. We are seeing a kind of a V-shaped recovery. However, the critics of the government, they say that we should not do the year-on-year analysis. Rather, we should do the QOQ, that is the quarter-on-quarter analysis. Now, the quarter-on-quarter analysis means that the first quarter of this financial year needs to be compared with the last quarter of the last financial year. So, the Q4 of the last financial year and the Q1 of this financial year we need to compare. And when we see actually a 17% contraction that has happened into economy. First of all, guys, I will tell you also that why this difference has come. See, if you see the Q1 of the last financial year. So guys, the last financial year, during this particular time, we were into a nationwide lockdown. And because of that particular thing, at that point of time, nearly 24% contraction into the economy was there. And because of that particular contraction, that particular decline, this Q1 looks very much promising. So therefore, it has been said that actually a kind of a growth had come because we are comparing it with the last Q1. Okay, so the government is doing this thing. Then when we talk about the quarter-on-quarter analysis, they say that when we compare this particular Q1 with the last quarter, there is a contraction. Why? Because guys, the last quarter, it was the month of January, February, and March. That was the Q4 of last financial year. And this particular Q1 will be starting from the month of April. Fine. And into the month of April, guys, we have seen that second wave of COVID-19 came, and into the second wave of COVID-19, nearly all the states went for again the partial lockdowns, and then again the economic activity got declined. So therefore, when you compare this quarter with the last quarter, that is the Q4, then there will be a kind of a contraction that is coming. So these are some of the things that comes into this direction, number one. Number two, basically, if we read all these particular data, guys, they are focusing just purely onto the percentage. But just if you see the percentage will not anyway be giving you a right picture, because percentage is always a part of something. Okay, so percentage in isolation will never give you a kind of a picture. Rather, we need to see the absolute GDP. And when we see the absolute GDP, we will be understanding that what is the true state of Indian economy. What is this, guys? The absolute GDP. First of all, what do we understand by the GDP? It simply means the total monetary value of all final goods and services that are there into the economy. Okay, so basically, the final value of all goods that are there into an economy. Suppose into an economy there is a car that has been made, into an economy there is suppose a table that has been made, there is, let's say, a laptop that has been made. So whatever will be the total value of all these things, fine, we will combine it and we will be getting the entire GDP. Now here onto this particular table, guys, first of all, we have seen that the GDP of the quarter one into the last few years have been given. So this is the quarter one for 2017-18, quarter one for 2018-19, quarter one of 2019-20 last year, and this particular year's quarter one. First of all, when we talk about the GDP, already onto the 1st of September, we have seen that the GDP is made up of some components. First component is the private final consumption expenditure. Private final consumption expenditure means that what expenditure we the consumers are doing on consuming the different goods. Okay. Obviously, when I am consuming this particular different good, the expenditure that has been done by me, it will be entailing to the value of that good only. So the expenditure done by the private consumers, then the government final consumption expenditure, government is also consuming a large number of goods. So what expenditure government is doing, then the gross fixed capital formation, that is the investment that has been made into the economy, and then comes the net export. And when we club all these four things, we get the total GDP of the country. Now, when we see the quarter one GDP in 2017 and 18, it was, guys, nearly 31, basically, it was around 31 lakh crore rupees. Okay. Now, yes, it was around 31 lakh 62,000 crore rupees. Now, what has happened into the 2021-2022, this particular financial year, the GDP growth has been this much. That is around 32 lakh 38,020 crore rupees. Now, guys, see, basically, if you compare it, then we can get that, okay, we have reached the quarter one growth of around 2018-19 financial year, around 33 lakh crore rupees we can compare with this year. Okay. However, if you say government is using the word that we have reached the V-shape recovery. What is V-shape recovery? We will understand this first of all. Now, this is the graph of the V-shape recovery. It means that there is a kind of a trend line that is going on with respect to the growth. Suppose there is a kind of a disruption that came into the economy, and because of that particular disruption, your economy has went into a kind of a crisis. But after that, suddenly government had taken some kind of a reform, and again your economy had come onto the track, and again you are growing at the similar rate at which you were growing before the crisis. That is the V-shape recovery. Now, guys, let's assume that before the pandemic, this was the time before the pandemic, and our economy was growing at 6%. Now, this was the time into which the disruption had happened. Now, obviously, at this particular time, the disruption had happened, but so much needs to be the government, so much needs to be the growth, that automatically we come to even at a higher level, that all this particular damage that has happened, it is covered. So basically, we needed to come actually at the level of 2019 and 20 if we needed to make a kind of a V-shape recovery. Rather, what we have done, we have actually reached to the level of 2018 and 19. So we cannot call it as a V-shape recovery, because we have not reached to the level that was there before the pandemic. Now, guys, I will just explain this particular thing even with the help of one more example, so that the things becomes very much clear. Suppose there was the financial year of 2019, there was the year of 2020, there was the year of 2021. Okay, let's say there was also the year of 2018. Now, into the 2018, we manufactured the goods of 100 rupees. Okay, in 2019 there is the growth of 6%. So obviously we will manufacture the goods of 106 rupees. This will be the size of our economy. In 2020, 106 plus 6% will be there. After that, even onto that particular thing, the 6% will be added. So therefore, by this particular estimate, today our GDP's value needed to be at least 40 lakh crore rupees. This need to be the value of our GDP. Okay. So if our economy would have been this much, we would have said that we have achieved a kind of a V-shaped recovery. But rather, the value of our GDP is this much, which is comparable to the 2018. So actually, our GDP has shrank, and it is being said that India is not seeing the V-shaped recovery. Rather, we are seeing a kind of a L-shaped recovery. What is this L-shaped recovery? Now, this is the L-shaped recovery. Your GDP was growing at a particular level. Now, till the 2018, basically till the 2019, this was the pattern of our economy. Suddenly, a kind of a disruption came. Because of this disruption, our economy declined. And from this particular level, altogether, the base has been shifted. Okay, so basically, there is a kind of a loss into the economy in terms of GDP. Now, if you see, guys, what had happened, we have reached back to the level of 2018 and 19. Rather, we need to be here today, but what we had happened, we have reached back to the level of 2018 and 19. So this particular thing is clearly showing that a kind of a significant contraction had happened, and a large part of the economy has been lost. So this is the L-shaped recovery that we are seeing. Now, guys, it has been said that by 2024-2025, we will be reaching the Q1 growth of 40 lakh crore rupees. This will be our size of economy. But this size needed to be there into the 2021. So we had, our economy had went 3 years back. So this is the entire issue that has been provided into this particular article. So that is all, friends. I hope that you have understood it. And now we'll move to the next article. Now, this article taken again from the Hindu newspaper, and here actually the two articles have been clubbed, and they are talking about the issues that are evolving into the Taliban with respect to the Panjshir Valley, the capturing of the Panjshir Valley, and all such kind of things. Now, first of all, guys, what is this Panjshir Valley which has been captured? Now, here you can see that this is the map of the Afghanistan, and into the Afghanistan, this particular region is called as the Panjshir Valley. Now, when we talk about the Panjshir Valley, it has been a geographically very strategical point because this valley is surrounded with the Hindu Kush mountains on all the sides. Okay, and if anybody needs to come into this particular valley, there are some of the strategic passes that are needed to be crossed. That is the, here you can see the Khwak pass is there. So these kind of passes provide the entry into the kind of valley. So therefore, geographical resistance has been provided by this particular valley for so much of long time. Now, basically, the Alexander the Great and his army has also crossed this particular Panjshir Valley to the Khwak Pass. Now, guys, this particular valley has been a kind of a cradle for the anti-Taliban resistance, and this anti-Taliban resistance is there. Now, they have also resisted the Soviet Union when they had have came into the Afghanistan. So basically, the Panjshir has been a symbol of the resistance into the Afghanistan. And when we talk about the Panjshir, there is one of an important leader of the Panjshir, that is the Ahmad Shah Massoud. Now, the Ahmad Shah Massoud, he had given a kind of a resistance to the Taliban into the 1996 when the first Taliban was formed. And at that point of time, he created a Northern Alliance, and that Northern Alliance basically always gave a repulsion to the Taliban. They never surrendered in front of Taliban. Now, it was provided that basically the Massoud, he had a kind of a control, and now even when the Taliban captured the Afghanistan, all the people who were not like, who basically were anti-Talibanis, they again shifted to the Panjshir, and from Panjshir they were planning to give a kind of a resistance to the Taliban. However, guys, what has happened, into a sudden turn of events, we can see that the Taliban had also controlled the Panjshir Valley, and the resistance into the Panjshir Valley, it has folded up, it has given up basically the resistance. Oh, and the Taliban are saying that by controlling the Panjshir, we have got the absolute control over the Afghanistan, because guys, always it was expected that this particular region will be making a comeback and they will be trying to give a fight to Taliban, but this region has also fell, and now we can see that the Talibani fighters, they have hoisted their flag over the governor's office into Panjshir. Now, basically, into this particular direction, guys, it has been said that for the 40 years the resistance was provided by the Panjshir from the 1980s. Now it has fallen. So clearly we can see that the Taliban will be making a government here. However, when we talk about the forming of government by the Taliban, we can see that there is a delay that is coming into the formation of government. This delay could be because of the few reasons. Fine, up till now, Taliban has not announced what will be their official government, who will be the cabinet members, etc. So there were the reasons for that thing. Number one, it was said that actually the Taliban was waiting for the capturing of the Panjshir for so much of the time, and therefore only they were not declaring their government. Now, as the Panjshir has also been captured by the Taliban, effective control over the entire country has happened, and now they will announce their government. Second thing, it was said that they were not announcing their government because they wanted to announce it onto the 9/11 anniversary. Now this year, the 20th year anniversaries of the 9/11 attack will happen, and they wanted to do it onto that day. Then third, it was said that there was the differences over the appointments of the cabinet ministers and the governors. Into the Afghanistan, there are 34 provinces. Who will be the governor for those provinces? Who will be getting the power positions? There was a dispute onto that thing. So therefore, the appointment was not made and the government was not announced. After that, there was the issue with respect to the inclusion of non-Taliban leaders. Now the Taliban don't want to include them, but there are other organizations which also want a representation into the government. So onto that particular question also, the kind of a delay was there into forming the government. But now the Taliban has provided that they will be declaring their government into the coming month. Now it has been provided that, guys, whatever the outcome will be, okay, or whatever type of government will be announced, that will be having a large implication onto the future of the India. Because, guys, if any of the leader from the Haqqani network, fine, the Haqqani network is a different organization, but it is associated with the Taliban. Now the Haqqani network had led to many of the terror attacks. Even the consulate of India has been attacked by the Haqqani network. Fine. So therefore, if any of the leader from Haqqani network is given a representation into the Taliban, then India will not be able to negotiate with the Taliban very much effectively. Fine. So such kind of things can make the diplomacy with the Afghanistan difficult for India. So India needed to wait and need to analyze all the people who are being given the representation into the Afghanistan government. Moreover, guys, we have seen that the Pakistan and China, they have already recognized or they have already given a kind of a green flag to the Taliban, and the level of interference of the Pakistan and China into the Afghanistan also will also define the India's engagement into the Afghanistan. So the coming time will be very much crucial for the India. However, guys, already we have seen in one of an article that if basically the government into the Taliban is not representative or it is not endorsing the human rights, always the India has an option that under the sanction committee into the UN, they can move for the sanction against the Taliban. Fine, and all such kind of thing are there. So guys, we need to wait and watch that how this particular situation will be evolving. So that is all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, this article again taken up from the Indian Express explained section, and it is talking about the basically health journals which had called for immediate climate action. Now, first of all, what has happened? Basically, more than 220 leading health journals all over the world, they have written a kind of a open or a joint editorial to the world governments, and this joint editorial is asking the world governments to actually commit some of the concrete steps before this COP26 that is going to be held. Fine. Now this COP26, guys, it will be a very crucial climate negotiation that is going to be held, and into this thing many of the countries will be revising their INDC targets. They will be taking up the greater promises for the climate action. So it has been said that you need to commit far greater. Now these 220 health journals, they had said that it is very much important that we need to control the temperature rise till at the point of 1.5 degree Celsius compared with the pre-industrial times. Any increase beyond 1.5 degree Celsius into the temperature will be catastrophic for the health. According to this particular editorial, it has been said that there will be the both direct as well as indirect health concerns. Number one, what will be the direct health concerns? Basically, the heart related diseases, it has been said that they are being now increased more and more because of the extreme heat events. Now these kind of extreme heat events are particularly found into the India. So basically the cardiovascular diseases are happening into this direction. Earlier, the Lancet Health Journal had also provided a report that the cardiovascular diseases can be linked to the climate change and to the climate heat and to the rising heat waves. This is one thing. Then second thing, it has been provided that what is happening now, because of the climate change, the cropping patterns are changing. Okay, yields are declining. There is the water scarcity that is coming. Extreme precipitation is coming into some of a region. Now all these particular things have negative health consequences, because guys, it will be impacting the type of a food that we will be consuming, and the type of food that we consume, it defines the level of health that we will be having. So basically the climate impacts the food and the food impacts the health. This is an indirect relation between the climate and the health. It has been provided that also there will be the food shortages that will be coming due to the climate change, and that food shortage will lead to the malnutrition, and this malnutrition will be a kind of a considerable impact that will be coming onto the health. So therefore there are immediate efforts that are needed to be taken. Moreover guys, it has been provided by the World Health Organization that 250,000 excess death will be there due to the climate induced factors. So in order to save these 250,000 deaths also, we need to take immediate steps onto the climate change. According to the WHO, what has happened, because of the changing climate, instances of malnutrition will increase. As I told you that the food cropping patterns will change. There will be the malaria, diarrhea, heat stress that will be increasing between 2030 to 2050, and it will lead to 250,000 deaths. So therefore it has been provided that the countries, they need to come together and they need to actually give even more ambitious targets for the climate change. Moreover guys, I want to make one more relation here. What has happened, as the temperature will increase, okay, it will lead to increased dehydration. Fine, renal function loss will be there. There will be the dermatological diseases that will happen. Tropical infections will increase. Fine, then the adverse mental health outcomes will be there. Pregnancy complications will come. Allergies, cardiovascular disease, pulmonary disease, and basically the mortality as a whole will also increase. So all these are the issues guys. Very important article with respect to the GS paper number 3, where the health has been mentioned, because a direct connection between the health and the climate has been made here. So guys, please do remember all this particular thing. Download this particular PDF and copy it into your notes. That is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now this particular article friends, it has been taken up from the Hindu newspaper, and this article, it is talking about the issues onto the federalism that are coming into the India. Now this article will be important for our GS paper number 2 under the topics related to the federal issues and federal disputes. First of all, when we talk about the federalism guys, the word federalism has not been mentioned into the Indian constitution, but still the federalism is a defining feature of the Indian constitution. Under the federalism, the states are given the equal power, the states are given the equal say into the national issues, even in and particularly into the issues that are pertaining to that particular region. Now the center is bypassing the federalism. Center is taking away the say of the state governments. How it is doing it? Some of the examples have been given. Now the first example, it is of the farm laws that were passed by the parliament. Now the parliament passed the farm laws or the reform onto the agriculture. But if you remember, traditionally the agriculture has been under the control of the state government. Why? Because into the schedule number 7th, the state list provides under the entry number 14 that agriculture is belonging to the state government, and therefore the state governments has passed the law. But what government did, the central government did while passing these laws? Government utilized the entry 33 of the concurrent list. Now the entry 33 of the concurrent list provides for the trade and commerce, and by using that they actually made a law onto the agriculture. Guys, you might be knowing that the 7th schedule of the Indian constitution, it contains 3 lists. One is the state list. Into the state list, the subjects have been mentioned onto which only the state government can make the law. After that, next comes is the union list. It contains the subject onto which only the center government can make the law, and then there is the concurrent list onto which both the center and the state can make a law. Now under the entry number 33, the commerce clause was there, and under that they have made a law onto the agriculture. But actually the spirit of this particular agriculture subject was always into the hand of a state government. So therefore here the bypassing of the federalism has happened, number 1. Number 2, it is provided that there is a kind of a India basically onto the non-major ports also the center government has interfered. Now see, first of all, there could be 2 types of port, the major port and the non-major port. Okay, now the non-major ports are the smaller ports. Basically there is the entry number 31 into the concurrent list, and this entry number 31 basically talks about the minor ports. After this entry number 31, there is the Indian Port Act of 1908. Now, this Indian Port Act of 1908 had provided that the non-major ports will be into the control of the state government. The power will be into the hands of the state government to the make law onto them. However, guys, what had happened? Now the government had come with the Indian Port Bill 2021. And into this Indian Port Bill 2021, the central government is proposing a new body, that is the Maritime State Development Council, MSDC. Now this new body will be controlling the non-major ports, and into this particular body there will be the large representation of the central government. So guys, again, what has done, central government has interfered, and the area on which the state government were legislating, that particular area they are taking into their own control. Now the coastal states such as the Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, they had critically objected to this particular bill because they have the large coastlines, and if the non-major ports will be coming under the control of the central government, then much of a say of the state government will be lost. So this is the second example. Okay, then the third example, guys, that comes, fine, that this example is into the form of the Electricity Amendment Bill 2020 that has been floated by the central government. Now, basically, guys, when we talk about the electricity is mentioned into the entry number 38 of the concurrent list, and it has been provided that basically onto the electricity sector, it has been provided that there will be the State Electricity Regulatory Commissions, SERCs, and these state electricity regulatory commissions, they will be controlling onto the transmission of the electricity, and they will be under the control of the state government. Fine, whoever will be heading this particular organization, they will be appointed by the state government. So the power has been given to the state government. Now guys, what government is doing by this Electricity Amendment Bill of 2020, government is proposing a national selection committee. Now this national selection committee will choose the member of the State Electricity Regulatory Commission. Now as this basically national selection committee will be choosing the member of the SCRC, this national selection commission will be having much more power, and into this particular national selection committee, the members will be nominated by the union government. So again, indirectly the union government had taken a control over the electricity transmission into a state, which was earlier the mandate of a state government. So this is the third example that we see that government is bypassing the federalism. So guys, three examples we have seen into the context of the farm law, into the context of the non-minor ports, and into the context of the electricity. Now it is being said that actually the union government, it is increasingly extending its hand or its control over the concurrent list, and this particular thing is a grave concern. Into this direction, guys, some of the suggestions from the expert committees have been provided. First of all, the Sarkaria Commission. Now the Sarkaria Commission of 1983 had already provided that the coordination of policy and action in all the areas of the concurrent list or wherever the overlapping jurisdiction is needed to be there. There needs to be the mechanism for the mutual consultation and cooperation between the state and the union. But here we can see that the union government is bypassing the state government, and therefore it is not endorsing the recommendation of the Sarkaria Commission. After that, there was the next, the Venkatachalya Commission, also called as the National Commission to Review the Working of the Constitution. Now, the Venkatachalya Commission, or this NCRWC, it has also provided that the individual and collective consultation with the state should be undertaken through the institution of the Interstate Council. Now guys, the institution of Interstate Council has been mentioned under the article number 263 of the Indian Constitution. So you need to come with the state government, sit with them, and whenever you are making any law onto the concurrent matter, take their consent. But here also interstate councils are not being used. Rather than unilaterally, the central government is coming with a law. Then the Supreme Court has also provided into the SR Bommai versus Union of India case that the states, they are not mere appendages of the union. They are given their own constitutional place. The union government should not consider them as the secondary. But here, as they are being bypassed, clearly the central government is considering them to be secondary. After that, guys, there is also one very much important judgment, that is the judgment of the State of Bombay versus FN Balasara case. Now into the State of Bombay versus FN Balasara case, here it has been provided that if an entry has been mentioned into the concurrent list, and onto that particular thing, the state legislature has also been made, and If the Supreme Court finds that actually that particular subject more belongs to the state list only, then the state legislation will prevailing. So some of a privacy has been given to the state list, guys, into this particular judgment. So going by this particular matter, guys, here we can see that you cannot clearly bypass the state government. Fine, just it cannot be the case that you are making a law into a concurrent list and you are not even taking any opinion of the state government. That is not a good and advisable thing. So therefore such kind of instances need not to be done by the central government. So this is all which has been provided into this particular article. And now friends, we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about that the social media cannot replace the proper news journalism. Now, what has happened, guys? Basically, when we talk about the journalism education in India, it was started by the Annie Besant into the 1920s. Now, guys, the Annie Besant was a very important and prominent, basically a prominent figure into the course of freedom struggle for India. So she started the journalism education. Now, this particular year, we are celebrating the 100 years of the journalism education. Now there it has been provided that today the need of the journalism education is very much more, because today we see that the standards of journalism, standards of reporting, standards of news has declined, and today rather than the information, the disinformation is being spread out by the journalist, media houses, news agencies. So today the journalism education becomes even very much important. Not only the technical information or knowledge is to be given, rather the ethical journalism knowledge also very much is very much important. If we see into the last 2 decades, there is a boom into the commercial media. There is large number of digital journalism platforms which are also emerging, and these digital journalism platforms, they are opening the avenues for the citizen journalism. Today the citizens have become journalists. Fine, they are reporting onto the matters, they are reporting onto the current issues. Now this is good as the citizens are getting empowered, but at the same time, guys, many a times there are some kind of self-proclaimed journalists which are having their ulterior motives, which are having their own propaganda, and always they are reporting under some kind of vested interest. So such kind of thing should not be there. If you remember, guys, just a few days back we have seen this particular thing that the Madras High Court also talked on regularizing the journalist, because some of the journalists, they make their own ID cards and they use their connection in order to get some of the vested interest. So therefore we need to come out with the journalistic education into a very defined manner, fine, where the ethical issues are also needed to be taken, so that whosoever is becoming a journalist, he has some kind of a minimum standards. Into this direction, guys, there is the UNESCO. Now UNESCO mandates that the freedom of press is needed to be held, and the free flow of information also needs to be there. But this free flow of information needs to be the qualitative free flow of information. Fine. Now into this direction, the UNESCO had set up the Global Initiative for Excellence in Journalism Education in 2014, and this Global Initiative for Excellence in Journalism Education has laid down the minimum standards for the journalistic education. They say that the journalists, they need to first of all bring up the broad issues such as the climate change, there needs to be the data journalism, there needs to be the science journalism, and all such kind of things. So therefore it has been provided that such kind of journalistic education and standards need to be there, which are to be used for the journalistic education. Moreover, guys, these kind of formal degrees or formal awareness can only be done by the news journalism agencies, by the newspapers, okay, or by the established agencies. The social media, okay, wherever the self-proclaimed journalists are coming, they cannot have all these particular understanding with respect to the reporting and journalism. And into this particular direction, some of the steps are needed to be taken by the government. Moreover, it is provided that actually the new education policy 2020 is also a kind of an opportunity. Here we can provide the media education holistic at the school level only, fine, so that the citizens from very young age, they are getting the nuances with respect to the reporting and journalism, so that if in future they want to use their social media for the journalism and all such kind of thing, they can do that particular thing. So with respect to the 100 years of the journalism education in India, we need to take some substantial reforms, that how the such kind of thing or such kind of norms can be made, that the freedom of media needs to be there, freedom of express your views is there, but at the same time quality information is also flowing. So that is all about this particular article. And now friends, we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article, it has been taken up from again the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about what will be the implication onto the China because of the Taliban-led Afghanistan that is now coming into the picture. First of all, friends, what has happened? The USA had made an exit from the Afghanistan, and the exit of the USA is being called as the failure of USA. Even the exit from the Afghanistan is being compared with the basically the fall of Saigon. Now, the fall of Saigon was basically the withdrawal from the Vietnam that the USA made, a kind of a very abrupt withdrawal that they made from there. So similar withdrawal is being compared from the similar comparison is being made into the Afghanistan also. Now, anyhow, after moving on, it has provided that actually the Afghanistan has provided much larger opportunities to the China. See, till the time the US presence was there into the Afghanistan, China cannot come into the Afghanistan because of the bad relations that the China and the USA are seeing. Now, as USA had went away from the Afghanistan, China will come into the Afghanistan. Afghanistan has a large number of resources. There are the rare earth metals. Now, the rare earth metals are very much important for the renewable energy, for the new technologies. Okay, so for that, the rare earth metals are very much important. So that will be exploited by the China. Second, into the Afghanistan, there are the huge deposits of the copper, and for that particular thing also, the China will try to have a control over the Afghanistan. Then thirdly, it has been provided that actually the China is looking onto the Belt and Road Initiative, the BRI initiative, which is a pet project of China. And as this Belt and Road Initiative will be going from the Central Asia, the Afghanistan's participation becomes very much important. So therefore, in order to basically in order to enhance their Belt and Road Initiative, the China will negotiate with the Afghanistan and will bring Taliban on board. Now it has been provided that actually without consulting the Afghanistan, the bulk of Chinese investment onto the China-Pakistan economic corridor will also be at risk. Onto the China-Pakistan economic corridor, large money have been spent. However, if the Taliban will not give a green signal, then the security of the China-Pakistan economic corridor will also be threatened. So therefore, because of all these particular things, bringing the Afghanistan on board becomes very much important for the China, and because of that particular region only, they have even recognized the Taliban government. So guys, I hope that you have understood that why China is so much interested. Then after that, it has been provided that not only the Afghanistan needs to be brought on board with respect to the Belt and Road Initiative. Rather, if the Belt and Road Initiative needs to be successful, and if China wants to earn any revenue from the Belt and Road Initiative, it is needed that for at least next 10 to 20 years, the Belt Road Initiative needs to be operational. Fine, and how it will be operational? Only when the Afghanistan will allow it. So therefore, the cooperation with the Taliban becomes very much important. Now, it is being provided that guys, what China is doing, China is implementing their investment strategy into the basically then now the China will introduce their investment strategy into the Afghanistan, which they have already used into the South Asia and the Africa. But it is being China is expecting that the same benefit that they had got from the Africa and the Southeast Asia, they will be getting from Afghanistan. Now, first of all, we needed to understand that why the China has invested heavily first hand into the Southeast Asia and Africa. Then we'll compare it with Afghanistan. First of all, when we see presently the cost of production is lower into the Southeast Asia compared with the China. Now into the China, the cost of manufacturing is increasing. So therefore, China has put their low-end manufacturing into the Southeast Asian countries, and therefore they had reduced their manufacturing costs. So therefore, the China had relocated some of its industry. Second, when the China had invested into the African markets or the Southeast Asian market, it means that China also get access to the bigger markets into these countries. So therefore, the China had diversified to them and investment have been made. Thirdly, when basically guys, the China is basically why the China is investing into the other countries, because if you see, there are large number of sanctions that have been imposed onto the China, and many times that when the good is directly coming from the China, it is imposed high number of tariffs into some country. So therefore, what China does, China makes an investment into some other country, ABC country. There the China develops a good, and from this ABC country, the good will be exported to, let's say, the USA. Now, when the USA will see this good, USA will see that okay, this good is coming from the ABC and not from the China, and therefore at a low basically custom rate, it will be allowed. So what has happened, in order to bypass the sanctions, also the China had invested into the other countries, and from there they are exporting. Then next, it has been provided that for example, if you take the investment that has been done into the Africa, China had made a agreement into such a way that the China is also taking the energy from those countries, and therefore China's energy requirement are also getting fulfilled by the foreign fuel, foreign energy, and all such kind of thing. So basically, China had done considerable investment into the past into both the Southeast Asia and Africa, and they had given them the much good lucrative returns. And now the China is expecting that similar onto similar pattern the investment they will be doing in Afghanistan, and by that they will be earning the revenue. But guys, the China needs to understand that whatever investment they are doing into the Afghanistan and Pakistan, it will be coming with much larger number of risks. Now, what are these risks? Risk number one, it has been provided that first of all, the Afghanistan and Pakistan, they cannot be compared with the ASEAN members. Fine. Why? Because this particular Pakistan and Afghanistan is a very destabilized region. Recently, the bombings had happened into the Kabul and the Gwadar, and this particular thing shows that the resurgence of the terrorist groups are happening into the Afghanistan and Pakistan. And for the business climate, we can see this thing that no businessman or no investment company needs that such kind of terrorist groups. If they are there, they will not be liking this particular thing because they will be threatening the ease of doing business. So for the business environment, such terrorist groups will play a very much negative role. After that, when we see the Taliban, we know this thing that the Taliban is having a soft corner for the East Turkestan Islamic movement. Now the East Turkestan Islamic movement is a militant group which is active into the Uyghur province of the China. And into this particular direction, the support given to this East Turkestan will be going against the national interest of the China. So therefore, China will be facing a problem onto this particular front. Then third, it has been provided that the Pakistan has not been able to repay a China funded energy project that was built under the BRI. So the economic viability into the Pakistan is not there that they can pay back a considerable return to the China. Into the Pakistan, there is a large number of corruption that is there. There is too much interference of the military into the economy, and therefore the viability of the economy of the Pakistan is not there. And the same thing will go into the Afghanistan also. And if the economies will not be viable, the China will not be earning anything out of it. Then next thing, it has been provided that basically the dependence of the Afghanistan is onto the opium export, and this opium export is first of all having some negative implication because much of this opium is also going into the China also. So that is one problem. And then because of this opium export, the mafia culture, corruption culture, it becomes, and the state doesn't becomes stabilized. Then it is provided that basically when we talk about the Taliban, it is the least acceptable ruling elite to the Western countries. And if China will invest into the Afghanistan, and if whatever product will be made from the Afghanistan, and if they will be sold to the Western countries will not be accepting it. And Western countries have always been a very lucrative market for the China. So basically the goods manufactured from the Afghanistan will not be having any much of the acceptance. So therefore investment into the Afghanistan will be having many kind of a problem. So guys, the Afghanistan sends both the opportunities as well as the challenges to the China. Now how China will be utilizing it, that becomes an important matter of concern. Okay, and India needs to basically play their policy into such a way that whatsoever benefits are there, rather than going to China, they should come to India. So that is all about this particular article, friends. And now we'll be moving to the next article. Now this particular article, it has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about the national monetization pipeline. Fine. Now guys, into this particular article, fine, basically the idea has been provided. First of all, when we talk about the national monetization pipeline, we have discussed I think more than 8 to 10 times that it is a 6 lakh crore rupees project that has been taken by the government. Over the 4 years, government had taken a target that many of the assets of the government, such as the ports, railways, pipelines, fine highways, etc., they will be given on a lease to the private player, and upfront payment will be received. Either they will be given on a lease onto the PPP model, or through the InvIT routes, fine, the money will be attracted. Okay, so the 6 lakh crore rupees government is expecting to collect here. Now government says that it is a way of unlocking the value of the assets, unlocking the idle capital, or unlocking the value of the asset. Whatever money will be raised from here, it will be again be pushed back into the economy, and that money will again be used to further enhance the infrastructure in India. Now it has been said that guys, by this particular monetization, asset monetization, there will be some of the impact that will be coming onto the ordinary citizens. Now it is being provided that, see, the assets that are being offered to the private player onto the leasing, these are the assets that have been created by the tax paying public. Okay, so that particular thing had happened. Up till now, whatever assets are being given to the private player, they are being managed by the government and the government agencies, and the government agencies were basically pricing all these particular things in such a way that the a burden onto the consumer was not more. For example, guys, let's say there is a port. Now the government is running this particular port. Now the user charges onto this particular port will be very much reasonable because the government doesn't have a motive of making the profit. So this particular thing was going on. Now what will happen? Basically, these particular port, etc., will be going to the private player, and it will be leading to the double taxation onto the citizen. How the double taxation onto the citizen will be coming? First of all, it is being said that the citizens paid their taxes, and by that taxes only onto the first hand the asset was created, which is now being given to the private player. So first of all, at the creation of the asset, the taxpayer had paid the money. Now what will happen? These private entities, they will be enhancing the user charges onto these particular facilities in order to earn more and more revenue, and even the government has allowed that you can enhance the user charges. Now secondly, by paying the enhanced user charges, again the economic burden will be coming onto the consumer. Is it clear? And this particular thing, we have seen that earlier the government privatized the power distribution, and there is a steep increase into the power charges, and this particular thing had impacted the middle class. And now, as a large number of assets you are giving to the private sector, they will increase the user charges onto them, and then the impact onto the consumer will be coming. First when they were created, then also the consumer had paid that money. So therefore, this is a criticism of the national monetization pipeline that is there. Fine. Now guys, this is one dimension. However, apart from this, many other articles we have seen, even to the 3rd September 2021, one idea with respect to the monetization of public assets we have seen. On 31st August 2021 also, one very good critical article onto this particular dimension we have already seen. So in order to get a better idea, if you have not seen these two articles also, you can see. So that is all about this, friends, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article talks about the digital database for the farmers that have been created by the government. Now, first of all, friends, when we talk about the people involved into the agriculture, they are a considerable section of the Indian economy. Number one, because guys, still a considerable section in terms of population is involved into the agriculture. Secondly, many of the agrarians in India, they are doing a sustenance kind of agriculture, and they are always needed to be supported. Fine, because always the government has an objective of the social justice. Now, in order to provide them the advantages, the identification of the beneficiaries have to be made. If the better identification of the beneficiary will be there, effectively the advantages, the benefits, subsidies could be provided to the farmer. So therefore, what government had done, the center had created the National Farmers Database, which is having the record of 5.5 crore farmers, and it is being provided that eventually this particular database will be increased to have the information onto the data onto the 8 crore farmers by this year's end. And basically the state's land records or the land record database will also be connected into this National Farmers Database. So what will happen? A digital database of the farmers will be created, and all the benefits will be provided to them directly by the help of this particular database. Now, this particular database has been created by collecting the data from the existing under the existing initiatives such as the PM Kisan, Soil Health Card, then the basically PM Fasal Bima Yojana is there. So whatever data is been there, that has been collected at one place, and the national database has been created. Now this database will be used for the targeted service delivery with the higher efficiency as well as into a time bound manner. Now guys, basically government is now coming out with an Agri-Stack initiative. Okay, Agri-Stack initiative. Now this Agri-Stack initiative is to digitize the agriculture sector. Wherever possible, digital technologies are to be provided to the farmer. For example, provide a farmer a digital mobile, a kind of a smartphone, and provide him a kind of an app. Onto this particular app, he can have the information with respect to the climate, he can information with respect to the best practices for the soil management and all such kind of things. So digitization of the agriculture sector is going on. That is the Agri-Stack initiative. And under that Agri-Stack initiative, this is one of a component, that is the digitization of the farmers data. Now basically the government had collaborated with the companies such as the Microsoft, Amazon, Patanjali, and all of them are developing the technology solution for the farmers, and here the data from this particular database will be utilized. Now all of this particular thing is positive, but at the same time guys, there are some of the privacy concerns that have also been raised by the farmers. So that is all which is coming into this particular dimension. And guys, under the GS paper number 3, agriculture related issues, all these things can be utilized. So that is all, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, this particular article has been taken up from the world section, and it is talking about the food emergency that is going into the Sri Lanka. Now, we will be seeing with this particular article that what it is. Now, guys, first of all, when we talk about the Sri Lanka, you need to understand that the Sri Lanka, it has a huge reliance onto the imports, essential import. Now, then when we talk about the essential imports, they are the import of petroleum, dairy products, food, sugarcane, oil, essential oils, edible oils. Many of these kind of things are met by the imports. Now obviously when you are making an import, you need the foreign exchange. Okay, you need to pay that import in terms of dollar or any such kind of currency, so foreign exchange is needed. Now guys, basically the avenues from where the Sri Lanka is earning the they are earning the forex, it has reduced considerably into the last few years. What has happened? First of all, the Sri Lanka was earning the foreign exchange by the exports, but now the exports have reduced. Secondly, there was a large number of remittances that were coming into the Sri Lanka, but these remittances have also reduced. Okay, why? Because into the other countries, wherever the Sri Lankan citizens are there, they have lost the job because of the COVID-19 and they are not able to send the remittances. So foreign exchange is not again coming into Sri Lanka. After that, into the Sri Lanka, large number of foreign exchange also used to come from the tourism, but now the tourism has also impacted because of the suspension of the air flights. Then into this particular year only, if we see the currency of the Sri Lanka, it has been depreciated by more than 10%. Today, basically the Sri Lankan today what is happening, the Sri Lankan currency had gone very much down, and whenever whenever a currency of a particular country will go down, obviously the imports will become very much expensive. So what had happened today, the foreign exchange reserve of the Sri Lanka, it has just been $2.8 billion. In 2019 it was more than $7.5 billion. So basically when the Sri Lanka will not be having the foreign currency, it will not be able to pay for the imports for all the essential goods, and as the food also they are importing, so the food shortage will come into the Sri Lanka. Now this particular thing guys, what it did, first of all, it led to a speculation into the people that the food shortage will be coming. So therefore large number of people, they have went for the food hoarding, as well as many of the traders also, they have hoarded for the food. So first of all, there was a kind of a scarcity that was coming. This scarcity has even increased because of these hoarding instances. Then guys, what has happened? Basically the Sri Lanka had adopted into this year the organic only approach, and into this organic approach there is a ban onto the fertilizer. So whatever the crops were being grown into the Sri Lanka, their productivity will also come down because the fertilizers will not be used. Now all these particular things guys had led to a food crisis into the Sri Lanka. There are some of the actual issues which are there because of this particular thing, and guys, because of the speculation and all such kind of things, again there are the hoarding, and because of that the food scarcity had come into Sri Lanka. So therefore what has happened, the Sri Lankan president, fine, he had basically declared the emergency regulations with respect to the distribution of essential food items. It has been provided that the essential food items will be provided by the government at the concession rate. Moreover, the stocking of the essential food items will not be allowed, and only at the government guaranteed price the food will be provided to the people. Now this particular thing has been taken up by the Sri Lanka into their food emergency. Now guys, whether this particular thing will be impacting or not, it is a matter of concern. It has been said that by this particular thing, actually a large number of power had come into the government officials, and they will be utilizing this particular large power for their own corruption and all such kind of thing. Moreover, into the Sri Lanka, they don't have any universal public distribution system or the ration card system. How they can ensure that the essential goods are reaching to the rightful consumers? That is also a problem that will come. So basically this is the food emergency that has happened into the Sri Lanka. Why it has happened, you need to understand all these particular factors, particularly very much important. So guys, that is all about this, and we need to see that how this particular matter will be evolving into the coming few days. So guys, that is all about the today's newspaper analysis. Friends, I hope that you are understanding the initiative, you are liking the initiative, and I hope that it is enhancing your awareness. So that is all for today guys. Please do hit the like button if you have liked our initiative, and please do spread the word. So that is all for today. Thank you so much.